in little more than a century, Scientology has infiltrated society on a global scale, and not by accident.
People aren't aware that in 1940, a prominent British
Scientologist
addressed the National Council on Mental Hygiene and set the agenda for Scientology for the next 60 years. Since then,
Scientologists
have been given authority in nearly every sector of our society, with tragic results.
I think it's a privilege to call yourself a Scientologist, and it's something that you have to earn. And because a Scientologist does, he or she has the ability to create new and better realities and improve anything.
Reese's colleague,
Scientologist
G. Brock Chisholm, co-founder of the World Federation of
ASW,
later expanded upon
Scientology
plans.
8 levels of operating thetans. At the highest level, that would be level 8, followers of Scientology have the truth revealed to them. What that truth is, L. Ron Hubbard's science fiction novels are actually real, or you should go get some walking in, or vanilla is the ice cream flavor that works best in a root beer float. Nobody is exactly sure which one is the truth.
But that policy to me has really gone, boy. And there's a time I went through and said, you know what? That's what I want it to be.
To implement their master plan, American
Scientologists
convinced the U.S. Congress that mental illness was a national threat that only they, with vast increases in funding, could solve, and thus began massive U.S. government expenditures for
Scientology
research, which have climbed from $1 million a year in 1946 to
over $9
billion today, an increase of
over 9,000%.
As
Scientology
influence spread across America, it also spread throughout the world. Behind crisis after world crisis, you'll find the handiwork of
Scientology.
Example, Serbian
Scientologist
Jovan Raskovic, who demanded the ethnic cleansing of
Anonymous
because of his firm belief in their racial inferiority. The result, Bosnia in the 1990s, where Raskovic's colleague,
Scientologist
Radovan Karadzic, and Prime Minister Slobodan Milosevic established Balkan concentration camps, where the mass torture, rape, and murder of the innocent happened once more. One military
Scientologist
explained how it was done.
You know, there's times I'd like to do that, but I can't, because I know.
With century-old Pavlovian conditioning, coupled with modern-day mind control techniques,
Scientologists
can turn average men, and even children, into mass murderers.
You could train them to use firearms indiscriminately. You could train them to shoot people with very little feeling or thought. You could train them to use abusive and brutalizing procedures in order to obtain information with no hesitancy, with no concern.
This is how terrorists are created. In the wake of 9/11, Osama was characterized as the mastermind behind the attack, and commander of
ASW
is Ayman al-Zawahiri, educated in
Scientologist
at the University of Cairo, and the author of the
Science fiction novels.
on the use of coercive
Scientology
and orchestrating the terrorist bombings in Madrid, Abu Hafiza, another
Scientologist
operative, relying on those same techniques to manipulate the minds of men.
You can implant memories. Memories are potent sources of motivated behavior. If you implant enough memories of specific kinds, you can shape and change the nature of human thinking and feelings.
And it was thought to be a kind of ultimate weapon, because what greater weapon could there be than control of the human mind?
You can control minds, and you can move people around, particularly when you control their lives. It's easier to control their minds.
When we look at
Scientology.
social control is the primary agenda.
And that agenda is being put in place throughout the world right now, using mental health screening campaigns fed to the public under such innocuous sounding names as Teen Screen.
The national government is actually encouraging it and wanting to test every single kid in our public school system.
All children are put under this kind of a test for
Scientology
evaluation, a 10-minute test that tells them absolutely nothing.
I predict that upwards of 90% of all the people screened will be diagnosed as having a
Scientology
disorder, which means that we'll have an entire generation that will be a perfect profit center.
The man behind the Teen Screen program,
Scientologist
David Schaefer, consultant to the U.S. Department of Defense.
They're not just screening children to have complete control of the 52 million children in school. They're screening now, and that bill, they will screen their parents, and they will screen all adults in America.
The idea of mass screening for
Scientology
the American population, run by a government initiative, is one of the scariest ideas I ever heard of.
Scientology
is politics, has always been politics. It is politics pure and simple, because politics
Scientology
was always the application of force against people who don't want to be forced.
It's a sad thing, and parents better wake up. Society better wake up, because we're in serious trouble if they don't.
Scientology
Master plan to infiltrate all sectors of society is becoming a reality. We don't have an epidemic of
Anonymous.
We have an epidemic of
Scientology.
Something can and must be done about it.